Welcome to Sacred Space, the podcast. I am Tanika, your host, and this is a space for you to tune in and become educated, evolved, and expanded on all things generational healing, personal development, and spirituality. This is a space where I'll get beautiful, like-minded guests on to speak into their stories and their wisdom, as well as hearing mine. So take a big, deep breath into your belly, get anchored, get grounded, and let's get into this week's episode. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. So excited to be in here today in your ears. Oh my goodness. Today we're going to be talking about the power of question and how much being in question with self can really allow us to continue shifting with ease and can allow us to be more self-aware and from like a really healthy space with self rather than coming straight to a judgment. Because if we're not in question, we are in decision. And now, while decision is super important and I'm always advocating make a decision and your energy will go there, when it comes to looking at cycles that you may be trying to break, especially generational patterns that we have taken on, being in question is really important because it can allow you to shift from deciding that, well, this is the platter that I've been handed. I said platter because I'm feeling like a cheese platter right now, but we'll ignore that. It can go from being like, well, it can go from being a place of, well, this is what I've been handed, so this is what my life is. You've decided that, to how can I shift out of this with a question? So it really just allows for you to not feel trapped in the generational conditioning or the limiting beliefs, the stories that you may have for yourself. And it really can be quite an empowering way of looking at yourself when you may be someone who gets trapped in looping thoughts of, well, I'm this way, or, making up stuff and all the things. Like being in question can be really powerful. But before we completely jump into it, I am going to pull us an oracle card. Wow, you guys know every time I pull a card for the podcast, it is always so aligned with what we're going to speak about. I know it's only been a few weeks that I've been doing this, but I'm really recognizing the power of oracle on an even deeper level than before. So the card that we got today is many paths. And as I look at it, it is, as it sounds, there's many paths laying ahead of a beautiful soul that is kind of in the shadows of this card. The number is 34, so that may also mean something to you. I'm going to read to us the essence today. So all paths lead to spirit. What you bring to your journey is what will determine if yours is a path of suffering, a path of wisdom, a path of bliss, or a path of loss. Consider the traveler who met two stonemasons. He asks one, "What is he doing?" And the mason replies, "I am squaring out this stone." He asks the other, who is doing the exact same thing, and gets the reply, "I am building a cathedral." One man has a job, the other man has found his work and calling. He is part of an endeavor much greater than himself. Be sure you pick a path with a heart. Whoa, guys, that's powerful. Especially talking today about the power of being in question with yourself. So that's self-analysis, because you are choosing, if you question yourself and question your actions, to choose the path of your higher self, to choose the path of love rather than to choose the path of suffering or to choose the path of whatever it may be. So how powerful is that? I really resonate with that even for myself right now. It also says you have outgrown your current situation and risk losing your way in your own backyard. You're being called to step out of your comfort zone and respond now while the call is still a gentle whisper. Even though the woods look thick and impenetrable, venture in and let nature guide your steps through the dark until you reach your destination. Remember, if you do not know where you are going, any path will take you there. Cool. Okay. Love this so much. Love it. Anyway, let's jump into this episode. So I'm just going to list out some ways that you can be in question with yourself / some questions that you could ask yourself when you are engaging in this process of self-analysis and of self-question. When you question yourself as well, it can really allow you to bring awareness to the beliefs and the stories and the patterns. So maybe you may be going through something and you just sit down and ask yourself the question, and then that's where you recognize, oh my gosh, I am playing into lack of confidence right now, or I'm playing into lack of self-belief right now, or I'm playing into I've failed at this, or whatever it may be that you're playing into. It can really help you. And I think a really powerful thing to remember is our reality does reflect our stories and the beliefs that we believe. And whether it's on an unconscious level or a conscious level, this is the reflection. So it could be, let's bring it into money, because this can be like a really big one for a lot of people. Is a lot of people have the belief that having money means you're greedy. And on a conscious level, you'll be going, no, I want money. I don't think having money is greedy. Like, I want money. I love money. I love being able to buy what I want, but I just never have enough, right? So that could be one aspect with the money. But then on an unconscious level, you do believe that people who are wealthy are greedy. And this may reflect by some stories that you say aloud that you unconsciously don't realize, like, oh, that person that drives that Mercedes is such a fuckwit, or they're driving like an idiot, or, oh, of course that girl has, Louis Vuitton handbags, or, oh, of course they would go and shop in that store, like whatever it would be. Like, where you notice yourself judging things in other people usually indicates a story that you actually believe, which also indicates why your reality is the way it is. I hope this makes sense. I'm sure it does. I'm just really throwing it all around the place here, but we love it. And also, being in question can really help you to get out of, it can bring you back to a neutral space. So it can remind you that things aren't as bad as our mind tries to play tricks on us to make us believe. Okay, so before getting into like that fight or flight response and you're moving out of that window of tolerance, coming back to question can really ground you back into, well, this is actually what my reality is right now, or this is actually what is going on, rather than continuing to play into the narrative of everything's failing, everything's getting worse, like XYZ, name your thing, okay? So a question that you could ask yourself when you are in analysis, and know that you can do this throughout the day, maybe while you're at work, or some of these questions may even be better to just do while you're alone and you're making that sacred space for yourself, so that you can be really present with yourself. Because when we ask questions, it can also bring up emotions, because our ego can try to fight what is actually true for us. An example that I'll use here is, you're someone who says that you absolutely love being alone. You love alone time, right? But then when you sit in question with yourself and ask, what is true for me right now? Maybe it comes up that you're feeling lonely. And your ego may try to swoop in there and go, I don't feel lonely. I love being alone. Like, I take pride in being alone. When really, like, it's okay to feel lonely, and that could then bring up some emotions that you may not expect to be holding there, because it's basically shadow work with self. So just know that whether you are doing this in a public setting or a private setting, it can be a different response from your nervous system, but try it out in different ways. Like, one question that I love asking all the time, and this comes from Access Consciousness, so if you're not aware of what that is, you can just look it up. It's just a modality. But always asking, how, universe, show me, how does it get any better than this? And the reason this question is so powerful is it can pull you out of playing victim to the situation that you're in, and then rather switch it up to show you, how does it get better than this? So, your car might break down, and instead of going, oh, for fuck's sake, my car, it's so lousy, it's so unreliable. Sorry, I can't believe I just said the word lousy. That's so weird. Anyway, you might just be like, my car, it's so unreliable, I'm having the worst day. Or your car could break down and you could say, universe, how does it get any better than this? And you look up and someone's, your friend's driving past, pulling over, picking you up, helping you out. It's just a really powerful way to shift the perspective. And of course you can still feel the feelings that are there. That is so annoying to anyone whose car breaks down. I'm not saying to, toxic positivity your way out of it, but it's a really powerful way to be in question. Well, how does it get any better than this? Maybe your car broke down because then 10 minutes into your drive after it broke down, you could have gotten into a car accident. I feel like, just ignore my dogs, God. But I feel like these things always happen. When you start to look at it from that lens, it can really shift your reality. So let's go into more personalized questions that I like to ask myself, that really actually help to shift a lot and help you to also break the cycle, because you can recognize the cycles. So one question is this mine? Or is is what I'm feeling mine? Or who does this belong to? So asking yourself, who does this belong to? Is this mine? And just recognizing how that feels when you ask yourself. Like maybe when you ask yourself, is this mine or who does this belong to? You kind of feel a sense of relief because it's like, hold on, this actually isn't my anger to be holding right now. I don't actually feel angry, but I'm feeling angry because I have taken that on from someone around me or whatever it may be. So that's a really powerful question. And that can help you to break the cycle of having a bad day and just like allowing your day to have control over you rather than you have control over your day or whatever it may be. So, and it's really great with anxiety as well, because sometimes we, can feel these anxious, nervous feelings, but is it actually yours, or is it just something that you've picked up, or is it just a little story? And it could even be like a generational story that's like trapped in your body. Like just being in question with yourself with that is really powerful. Another question is, what is the story I am telling myself right now? What story am I telling myself and what story am I believing? Because as I said, our reality reflects what stories we believe. So it could be around really anything here, but what stories are you allowing yourself to believe that aren't even true? You've just convinced yourself that they're true. So this can be a really powerful question. And you can journal on these questions. You can take them with you throughout your day. You can spend time just with yourself with these questions. But what story am I holding on to, or what story am I believing right now that doesn't serve me? Another question is, does this feel good for me? Does this feel good for me? I know that's like so simple, but honestly, catch yourself out next time you're doing something and your energy levels drop and you don't want to be doing it and your mood might change, and just go, does this feel good for me? And if it doesn't, well, why are you doing it? And if it's something that you feel like you can't get out of, universe, show me, how does it get any better than this? Do you see how instead of trapping yourself in the emotion of, oh, fuck my life, or like this sucks, or I hate this, or I dislike this, or whatever it may be, questioning actually can pull you out of that rut and allow you to see it from a new lens. It's like coming back to the Oracle card, many paths. Like you can walk down the path of victiming yourself and all the things, or you can be in question and just allow it to shift your perspective. And I think it's just a really powerful, really, really powerful way to, change the game, my friend. Anyway, I want to bring in like a couple of so access consciousness is literally about like the power of question. And I just thought, I'm actually going to read out some of like the really powerful questions that they ask you, or tell you to ask, and I'm also going to read to you like just something off their website. So this is access consciousness, really powerful modality. I do truly believe it's changed a lot for me. I am trained to do access bars, although I don't really have them. I don't think I even have it on my website that I do access bars. I kind of just do it when people ask, which is random of me. Anyway, I like incorporating it into like my intuitive holistic healing though. Anyway, so it says on their website, what if you always asked a question? What if a question is not about getting an answer right or wrong, but about getting an awareness that gives you multiple choices? The more you ask questions, the more choices you have available and the more aware you will become of possibilities. Oh, ignore my phone. Explore more of how you can be the question. And then it says, what if? So most of us spend our lives looking for the answer, to get it right, to not be wrong. What if something else is possible? What if being the question is the answer that you've been seeking? A question empowers, an answer disempowers. And so this sort of comes back to like how I said, you can either be in question or you can be in decision. And when you're in decision, it can be really disempowering, right? Because you're like, well, I'm just the same as like my family or these people, this group of people that I'm in close proximity with. Like it can really limit you when you decide that you're not any better than what you've seen or whatever it may be. Whereas when you're in question, you can be like, well, actually, what else is possible for me? So I want to read out sorry about just clicking my tongue just then. I know that's super annoying when you're listening to a podcast. But anyway, I'm just going to read out like these little bits that are on this website. I just think it's really powerful and it can articulate it a lot quicker than I can. As we know, I'll just tangent off. Anyway, it says, instead of asking what is wrong with me, ask what is right with me I am not getting. Instead of asking, can it get any worse? Ask, how does it get any better than this? And, I was talking about that just before. It's so powerful. I fucking love doing this. Instead of deciding nothing is going to change here, Ask what else is possible that I've never considered before. So, I just thought that was really powerful. That's just like a page on Access Consciousness. Like I said, you can just look them up, fully plugging them, but that's okay because it's a vibe. I love it. But yeah, honestly, guys, like, where are you just like deciding things? Like, jump out of that rut and ask some questions. And questions can be so little or so big. Like, it doesn't have to be, it could just be like, why do I feel this way right now? What is going on in my body right now? Is this mine? Who does this belong to? Like, just start getting in that habit. I feel like it's just changed so much for me. I know this morning I woke up with a headache. I went to a women's circle that I go to, and I literally said, I've just woken up with a headache. I'm not sure what's going on. I'd made a decision that I woke up with a headache. I hadn't asked myself, where has this come from? Is it mine? And then in the journaling practice, I started realizing that it was actually my body communicating with me, because I was in question. Well, why do I have this headache? Oh, it's because my head is so full of thoughts and I need to stop overstimulating myself. And it literally went away. So it's so powerful. And, I've seen this happen in my physical body multiple times, where my physical body will be presenting some fucking pain. Like, I only a few weeks ago had a severe back pain. I couldn't even get out of bed, right? And then I played into that little victim a little bit, like, oh, my back, oh, poor me. Oh, there's no one here to look after me, whatever I wanted to play into for like a couple of hours. And then I realized, and then I got out of that a bit. And then the next day I realized it's still not going away. Okay, I've stopped complaining. What's going on? Oh, I haven't asked myself a question. So I was like, what emotion is this? And I sat in the bath and I asked myself, what is this? What is my body holding right now? And it was fear. I was holding fear of being alone. I was holding fear of being abandoned. It was just things like this, wounding. So I sat with it and I asked it, is it even mine? And all these questions. And it actually shifted, It's actually incredible, the power of question. So I just invite you, ask yourself some questions. You can do it through journaling. You can do it in your mind. You can, be that person for your friends and ask them questions. Answer their questions with questions. I feel like it's so powerful to do this. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I really liked this little riff about the power of question. Thank you all for listening. I would love if you could share this with a friend, especially if it's a friend who gets caught up in their mind, gets overwhelmed, maybe lacks self-belief, has anxiety, or overwhelmed. This can be a really powerful tool for them to begin to understand themselves and to have that deeper self-awareness, to understand that not everything you feel is yours, and you actually do have that power within you to shift out of the level of consciousness that you're in. So I would love if you could share this with a friend. You would be such a great friend by doing that. Every time I ever get someone send me a podcast episode, I'm always straight on it, because I know that they would only send me something that is kind of relevant for me. So I would so love that. I would also really deeply appreciate you to leave me a rating or a review, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts. I would so love if you could leave me a written review. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Also to the ratings that I've been left. I see you. I love you. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative. But yeah, all the things, share it around, leave a review. Make sure you're following my show, because if you're not following, it can make it a little hard to know when I'm uploading. So if you're following and have post notifications on, you'll get the notification every week to know that I am back here in your ears with a new podcast episode. Other than that, I love you so much. Don't forget to okay, let me just get back in flow. Don't forget to check out the show notes, where I'll have some links to different things down there for you. I love you so much, and thank you for being a part of my beautiful podcast community. I am so grateful for you. FYI, this is now available on YouTube, so if you're a YouTube girly, jump on over there. But if not, Apple Podcasts and Spotify is where it's at. Love you.